Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 2025 Meelod DK300 Max. Now, this bike has a ton of features on it that you guys probably don't even know it has. A lot of upgraded things since the 2024 model, so let's get into it. So to start off, let's talk about the upgraded seat. It's a little bit more wider, much more softer, way more supportive as well, so long trips aren't going to feel like a punishment anymore. They also upgraded the brakes on this. They're a little bit thicker. You get a 203 up front and you have a 180 millimeter rotor in the rear. The next thing that was added to this bike was a GPS tracker. Now, I believe you can get this for 1 year free when you activate it. After that, I believe there is a small fee. But it's cool because you can track this bike wherever it is at, and you can actually disable it if someone were to take your bike. Now that GPS tracker is located underneath the seat. What's also underneath the seat in that box is going to be your battery blender to run both of these batteries. You're also gonna have your controllers in there, which are gonna be 22 amps each. Now the motors on this thing are both 750 watts. They have a peak output of 1200 watts each. And that's gonna give this bike 160 Newton meters of torque. Now to power those two motors, you get two batteries on this thing. They're both 20 amp hours each. You can see the specs underneath the batteries right here. There's actually a label on one of the front ones. And this is gonna give you some really good range. You're gonna get probably about 75 miles of range if you go in a lower pedal assist, and then you'll probably get closer to 30 or 40 if you ride at 35 miles an hour at all times. Now this is how I look sitting on the bike at 5'9". The seat, again, feels really comfortable, and I could pretty much flat foot my feet with this bike. Now, if I was probably under 5'4", it might be a little difficult. You might be leaning to one side, but I think this is a good bike for people that are over 5'5", up to probably about 6'2", 6'3". However, I don't think this is gonna be a pedal bike because the way these cranks are, they come up really high if you're a taller person. This is most likely gonna be a throttle only bike. Now, something to be aware of is that this bike is 136 pounds. It's not the lightest bike on the market because you do have two motors and you have two batteries. So just keep that in mind when, moving this thing around. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult than your traditional bike, but the weight feels really balanced. Now, this bike is full suspension. On the front, you do get a compression adjustment on the right-hand side at the top. The rear actually has no adjustment, so I'm really curious to see how this thing performs and rides later in this video. Now, instead of getting plastic fenders on this bike, you get metal fenders front and back, and the back one covers the whole entire rear wheel, so you won't get blasted with mud or dirt. This bike comes with a front headlight with a low and high beam. You get turn signals on the front and rear, and the turn signals are mounted to the top of the handlebars. Now, here's a look at how the brake light is, especially when hitting the brake levers. And here's a look at that headlight along with the turn signals. Now, when you first turn the bike on, you will have a password. The password is going to be 0000, and you can disable that in the advanced settings. Now, setting 1 has Bluetooth, where you can Bluetooth to an app. It's the Bike Go app, so you can add that onto your phone and you can track where you're going. The password in here is where you can get rid of the password to start, and you can also unlock this bike with Bluetooth. Then you have the wheel size, you have the units if you want to be metric or imperial. Then you have the LCD backlight, depending on how bright you want it to be. Then auto turn off feature, how long the bike is on when you leave it on standby. Then you can exit. Then you can go into setting number 2. The code should be 1688. And once you put that in, you can come in here and change the speed limit. Mine was set to 37. Now, technically, this bike isn't going to go really any faster than that because this bike is limited to 35 miles an hour, but you can put it as high as you want. You get some battery info over here. You can see your error codes, your trip reset, odometer reset, Bluetooth level, themes, language, display info, and you can factory reset the whole thing, and then you can just exit out of that. Now, this bike does come with a horn. Now, it's not an actual horn. It comes from the headlight, but this is how it sounds. On the right-hand side of the bike, you have a Shimano 7-speed with a half twist throttle. Now, here's how our gear system looks in the back. It's a Tourney TZ derailleur. And has a little red gear on the bottom. The tires that come on this bike are CTS Scouts, and they're 20 by 4 inches wide. Now, they're more of a street pattern, maybe almost a dual sport, but I would say more of a street level tire. All right, guys, so that should be everything you guys need to know about this bike. Now let's take it out for a spin and see if this is worth the money. All right, we're outside, guys. Let's get this bike turned on. I removed the password so I don't have to deal with that anymore. It does have a little animation that takes a little bit for everything to come on. I'm gonna bump it all the way up into pedal assist number 5 right now. Let's see how this thing is. Right now, we're only in the rear motor because that's what's lit up on my screen right now with a little orange circle around the wheel. If we want to go into dual motor, I believe we hit the power button. Yeah, there we go. Now both motors are working. Now, before we get to the speed test, guys, I gotta tell you, my first initial impression on this bike is the seat is really, really comfortable. And surprisingly, pulling out of there right now, I thought it was gonna like pill out or something, and it didn't. That was nice and smooth. Oh, my rotor's rubbing a little bit down there. That's a little annoying. Let me go back to the house and fix that because I don't want that making a bunch of noise during this video review. And I also noticed I forgot to tighten this brake lever. Everything's moving all over the place. That's my bad. All right, well, first off, this wasn't very tight. But as I'm holding the brake lever, hopefully that doesn't make any more noise. There's only one way to find out. Oh, there we go. Much better. That noise went right away. Quick little 2-minute fix. Oh no, it just came back. Now, another thing I noticed on this bike right away, and you're probably gonna notice it, is that the battery is slightly crooked. So however they put the rail on for the battery, I could just loosen those bolts underneath and just slightly tweak it over this way because the battery's going this way, but the frame of the bike is this way. So first thing I wanna do on a brand new battery, well, at least both of them should be turned on. Actually, no, the top one is not turned on. So let's get this top one on. We were just running on the bottom battery for now. So now it's on both. And now let's see what our top speed and torque is. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. All right, about 10, 11, 14. I'm gonna go off of this, by the way. 21, 25, 26, 29. Feels like the motor is slightly cutting out. All right, so I had to abort that speed run, but we're gonna do it again real quick. Let's see what our top speed is. So yeah, other than that brake noise up front, don't worry about that. I feel the motor slightly in the front cutting in and out. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, like if it's regulated to, you know, it's hitting its top speed and doesn't want to go any faster, but it looks like it kind of stopped for me. Now I can go back into the settings of the speed and put it to like 99 or 100, but you saw I had it at 60 or 70, and we're hitting about 32 miles an hour right now. So this bike is claimed to do about 35. Maybe that just depends on your weight. Maybe I need to break in these motors a little bit, or maybe I'm having that slight issue with that front one cutting in and out, and it's not allowing me to hit that top speed that I'm trying to get. Now I guess while I'm out here, to turn the headlight on, you have to hold the plus button, and then the display dims down, which I don't really like that, because if you think about it, if you want to have your headlight on during the day, like it is daytime, but it is kind of, you know, overcast, foggy a little bit out there, you can probably see. I can't really see it as well when the screen dims down. That feels like it's like 50% brightness, or maybe even 25% brightness, and that's great for nighttime. I like that, but during the day, I would like it to still be as bright as possible. Some people do like to have their lights on during the day, and I guess I should have used my turn signal. We do got turn signals. They are really, really bright. Now this one over here is blocked by some of the cables, but if you do route your cables and kind of move it around, you can kind of get it pushed over it or under it. So just keep that in mind. Also, try not to keep your turn signals on. You can't see this one behind the display. You can see this one clearly though. So if I use this one, you can definitely see that one blinking over there. They're bright as shit. But just keep in mind, there is no signal on here to let you know your turn signal's on. There's no notification to let you know, like, oh, my signal's on, you know, like a blinking noise. Some bikes have that, some bikes don't. This one doesn't have it. Now let's go into the shifter real quick. I'm gonna downshift. I'm gonna start pedaling this bike a little bit. Let's see if that, you know, does anything different with the motors. Maybe we'll reach a higher top speed if I pedal. Now, this is not the correct gear to be in when pedaling, but let's see how it shifts. All right, nice and smooth. No jankiness to it at all. I felt no skips. I felt nothing like that would concern me. That was nice and smooth on the gear selector. So that's great. If there was someone in my way, let's try out the horn out here. All right, well, I don't know what they consider a horn, but to me, that's not a horn. That just sounds like a beep. I don't know how you would explain what that beep is. Like maybe a microwave beep or something, like beep, 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 like your microwave's done or something, you're cooking your Hot Pocket. That's what that button reminds me of. I don't expect it to have a real horn, but that sound doesn't even sound close to a horn at all. And I know it's not nighttime yet, but you do have a high and low beam, so you can check this out. See, this is where you flip from the high beam to the low beam. You're probably not gonna be able to see that, but we will do a night video on this bike, so subscribe and like this video, especially if you like how I'm reviewing these bikes already. I'm true and honest, even though I did get this bike completely for free. I just wanna make that clear, but I'm gonna say however I feel about the bike. Oh no, not that noise again. Oh, you could put it in just front wheel drive. I didn't even know that. So we switched the modes hitting the power button, and this is just the front. Oh, the front is slow. I was expecting the front to kind of pill out or something, but it didn't. Now that might make sense because these controllers are only 22 amps each. So you're only getting about 44 amps. Now these batteries can go up to technically, I think 55 amps max. And there's a huge delay on that front motor as well, getting on the throttle, so check this out. So watch, I am on the throttle right now. If I let off, 1, 2, 3, power comes on. I don't know if that was like a 2-second delay, maybe 3-second delay, but that was a huge delay. Let's see if you can switch the modes on the fly. Oh, you can. Okay, so there's a brief cut, maybe like half a second, and it goes to the rear motor. The rear motor feels nice and smooth. I think maybe I'm having an issue with the front one. I'm not 100% sure. It is fully connected. It's getting power. I checked all the pins and everything. Nothing's bit, so we should be good on that. One thing to mention is this battery bar right here. I'm not liking it. The battery bar doesn't really show me anything. Right now it's showing me that the bike is down to like 80 or 70%. That's not really telling me anything I need to know. I wish there was something else I could see. We know the power button changes like your modes and stuff for what power you get to what. Let's see what some of the other buttons do. Oh man, off-roading, baby, off-roading. I didn't know the street dead end. All right, let's hopefully we don't run over any type of nails. That would not be fun. That guy thinks my bike's probably broken because that freaking thing keeps making noise up front. I'm sure after we break it in after a couple miles, it will go away, or just slam on the brakes. If the brakes work good, we'll have to do a braking test soon and I'll show you guys. They feel they're really good. Like, they're not like real stiff, they feel real spongy, and I don't see an adjustment on these, so I think you're just stuck on whatever it is. I mean, they feel good, but I wish I could adjust them to feel a little bit harder because they just feel a little too soft and they come too close to the grips, in my personal opinion. Oh, this street's cool. It kind of like curves and does like an S shape, so it's like whoop, whoop. Dude, it's crazy because this was all dirt, I shit you not, maybe like 2 weeks ago. It's absolutely insane like how fast they like put this stuff up. It's crazy, dude. This community is getting like bigger and bigger by the day. The one thing I got to do, I didn't even notice if I had this adjusted on the softest setting, but I do. If you turn it all the way to the right on the compression up here, then it locks it out. I have no suspension travel whatsoever in the front. If I turn it all the way back, now it compresses. And I gotta say, that's actually my favorite thing so far on this bike. It's not the speed, because I mean 35 is the top speed, but I'm not getting that, I'm getting 32. So it is slightly over class 3, which is totally fine for probably 90% of people. I love going super fast, but it's not even the speed I'm liking on this bike, because it doesn't really feel like it has that top speed I really am craving. But the comfortability of this bike is absolutely phenomenal. Now these tires go up to 30 PSI. I have the rear one at 25. No, I'm sorry, the rear one's at 24. The front one is at 25. Just because you have an extra motor in the front, there's more weight up front. So turning isn't as nimble as some other bikes that just have a motor in the back. So it does feel kind of heavy turning. Just make sure you have that tire aired up in the front. If it's flat in any way up front, it's gonna make the front feel really sloppy and heavy, and it's kind of dangerous to have a flat tire in the front. So make sure the front is aired up for sure because of that motor. And to let you guys know, we're running the rear motor right now and we're hitting 27. So if we want to go any faster than 27 or 28 roughly, which is cool because that's class 3 everywhere, right? This is legal right now. And if I want to switch it, we can go up to about 32 miles an hour. It just takes a little bit to get there. But it's moving, it's getting there, little by little, and there we go, 32. Now, something I might be biased on, this is my own personal opinion about this bike. I think it is a gorgeous looking bike. I love the extended frame. I love what they did with it. Like, it really, really looks good. I am impressed with the looks, if anything. Drop a comment, let me know if you guys think they knocked it out of the park with the looks. Like, I feel like it's just, you know, it's plain and black. You got a little bit of logos here and there, but it just has a unique look to it that you don't get from other bikes. Now, this is where we would go off-road and have some fun, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it has been raining every single day and everything is flooded. It might look like it's nice to ride on, but as soon as I go in it, my tire is just gonna sink into it and we're not going to get stuck or get, you know, muddy or anything like that. So we'll try to save it if I have this bike later down the road when weather has changed, and I'll try to come out here and ride it off road. But I'm pretty sure this would be a nice bike to ride off road. I just feel like these tires, not being dirt tires, they're not going to stick to the, you know, dirt too well, but I don't know, we'll try it one of these days. Actually, I don't know what I'm saying. We have a little bit of dirt we're gonna ride into real quick, but it's not that bad as it is out here. Anyways, the reason why I was up here is I have it in dual motor right now, and I can't believe my battery is showing like 60%. I don't even know what's going on. I have 6.8 miles on here, 5.4 miles on here. It's slightly off. All I did is go to the mailbox and only had 0.3 miles, so I think this is reading incorrectly. Maybe I have to go in there and change the tire diameter or something like that. But anyways, I want to see how fast this thing is with dual motors. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. All right, still, it doesn't peel out though, but it takes off pretty good. I just wanted to see the torque and everything like that real quick. And there we go, 28, class 3. And then we can push it a little bit more. But what I'm gonna do is drop it into the rear motor and stay at 28 because we're gonna test out the brakes and see how well they work. All right, you guys ready for this? Right at this fire hydrant right here, 1, 2, 3. Woo! Yeah, buddy, not bad, not bad. You can obviously see that we lost a little bit of traction. They just locked up, but these tires held on really good. And if you want a little bit more braking, I know I told you to air the front one up and leave it aired up, but you can air these down to make the bike even that much more comfortable. It's just gonna feel more like a slouch on the ground because you're gonna be dragging the tire if it's, you know, deflated and not inflated. But it will stop faster if they are deflated to probably 20 PSI. But I'll tell you right now, I did pretty good because there's a bike that I did, and that was the EM5, and I think it slid all the way over there. So, yeah, I gotta say, these brakes are really good. That's pretty close distance. That's like 2 bike lengths. I'm sure that looks a lot farther on camera, but this is a very wide angle camera. It was really only 2 bike stopping distance. That's really good. All right, so here's where we're gonna try to ride a little off-road. I think the bike's gonna get dirty regardless, but let's see how it does. Let's bump it up into both motors. I was wondering why we were barely moving. There we go. When you switch it over those dual motors, it takes about 2 to 3 seconds for that front one to kick on. Dude, now we're jamming. Hell yeah. I don't think I feel comfortable taking this thing really fast around the corner. I think it's gonna slip out in this stuff. If I had to give you guys my honest opinion about these tires, they used to be on one of the previous bikes. I'm not gonna mention the brand name, but these are tires that came out, I believe, a year ago, maybe a little over that. And I would say they're like 80% street, maybe 20% off-road. Not a real solid off-road tire, but they're really good for flats and stuff like that. They're not a really cheap tire. They're actually a good performing tire. So I like them on this bike. But anyways, here we are at the hill test. Now I want to do the hill test with 1 motor. Let's just do the rear because the front one might just peel out coming up or struggle. It actually has a real big delay compared to the rear one. So let's do the rear and see how fast it comes up this thing. So 1, 2, 3, go. Keep in mind, these are 750 watt motors and it peaks at 1200 watts, but we're only getting 22 amps from a controller when using 1 motor. So this is definitely slower than most bikes, 10 miles an hour. But keep in mind, we have 2 batteries, we got 2 motors, we gotta use the front motor. That's what this bike is all about. The extra weight is on there for a reason. If we're not using that front motor, then we're pretty much just wasting it, and that's going to make us go up the hill way slower. So here we go. Both on here. Take any guesses in the comments. Let's see how fast this thing goes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, much better. Still not crazy. The front was getting a little squirrely right there. 14, 15, 16. All right, not too shabby. Let's see if this thing has enough power to slide in the back. No, I don't think it does. Maybe a little bit. There we go. There we go. Woo-wee! It took a little bit to get up there. I didn't know if it was gonna do that, but once it got going, it was going. Now, so far, I gotta say, this bike isn't that bad. I think it's priced reasonably well, especially with dual batteries. Most people are going to want this type of range. 40 amp hours is a lot of battery. Now it is 48 volt, it's not 52 volt. I kind of wish it was 52 volt. I think that would have been a lot better. But this is one of their most popular bikes that they sell. And instead of changing a whole lot on it and, you know, trying to make it something that's not, they just basically refined it to put the seat on, better brakes. They got the GPS on here. So let's say you leave it at a grocery store and all of a sudden you see someone taking off with it. You can go on your phone as long as you have it connected. Make sure that's the first thing you do when you get this bike. And you can literally shut it off and they won't have any electrical power. Now they probably could pedal this bike without having the power on the bike. I'm actually curious to see how well this bike is to pedal it without having power. So I'm gonna bump it down into pedal assist 0 if we can. I didn't even look to see if we had a 0. If not, I could just turn the bike completely off. And let's see how it is to pedal if your batteries die. To be honest, that's gonna be a hard thing to do with 40 amp hours. I mean, how far are you going, you know? Okay, cool, here we go. This is just straight pedaling. Now I am in gear 7. This actually doesn't feel that bad. Oh yeah, you could definitely pedal this bike. I'm pedaling it. I have no electrical assistance at all. I am pedaling this perfectly fine. You don't even need the motors. What are we talking about here? This is easy. This is light work. Hell yeah. I always get this comment all the time. Can you pedal this bike without electrical assistance? And yes, now coming up a slight hill, it's a little harder, but I can still do it. And you have the gears. I am in gear 7. You can drop down and make the pedals a little bit easier. And that's what brings me to my next question. Oh, throttle's not gonna work. Gotta bump it up. When does ghost pedaling start? Oh, wow. Okay, well, it felt like ghost pedaling happened really, really low. So let's try that again. I'm connected to the pedals. I'm connected to the pedals. And no, I'm not. Now my feet are just moving freely. So that was like 18 or 19 miles an hour. And they don't do anything. You're basically just moving them to get that sensor moving, to give you the power to the motors, and that's it. So is this a pedal bike when there's no power? Yes. Is this a pedal bike when you're going fast and getting up to speed? Not really. Not a good bike if you're looking to pedal. Let's try this out. Nope. No one hears that. I gotta say, for being decently heavy, this thing turns pretty well. Once you get used to the front end with the little bit of weight it has, it's not that bad. Now, something I wanted to see is how late the throttle response is. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. All right, about like 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. I'll do that one more time and I'll tell you when the power comes on. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, power. All right, so yeah, about 1.5 seconds delay. That's not too bad. Let's see how fast the pedals engage when you start pedaling. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Power. Okay, it's actually about the same distance, probably about 1.5 seconds or so. It's not too bad. I still can't get over like how comfortable this bike is. I'm 165 pounds and this is just a nice feeling bike to just ride around. One thing I meant to check earlier and I totally forgot is there any other modes on this thing? Because when you hit the power button, all that does is, oh, there we go. You have to double tap. Wait, did double tapping do it? No, it didn't. It just changed the modes really quickly. So I don't think there's any type of mode to show voltage or anything like that. I would love to see where the battery voltage is at because it's telling me I'm sitting at probably 55, 60% battery. I don't know what's going on. I've only done 8.3 miles. And I am guaranteed to tell you, you should be able to get 30 to 40 miles of riding on this thing with doing top speed all the time because 40 amp hours is a lot. Especially with this thing having two 750 watt motors. Normally if a bike has a 1,000 watt motor and you have a 40 amp hour battery and you go full speed all the time, depending if the bike and you are decent weight, maybe 150 pounds, you'll get 1 mile per amp hour. You'll probably get 40 miles exactly. I think if I rode this thing straight at max speed, 32 miles an hour I'm getting, I should easily get 30 miles of range and somewhat, probably a little more, but I wouldn't want to push it, but I would say at least 30. But since you do a lot of mixed riding, getting up to speed, going down speed, maybe going on the sidewalk, wherever you gotta ride, you're not gonna be at top speed every single time. So I think this is some really good range, especially if you put it in pedal assist 1, you actually pedal this thing. I can definitely see you getting closer to 60 miles of range, if not more. They claim 75 plus. I don't know if that's doable. Maybe a very, very light kid that's going super slow, like 5 to 8 miles an hour maybe. But I don't really think that number is super realistic. So I just thought about something and I was like, I know we have the Bike Go app and I want to go into that app really quick because it should connect to this bike. So we have to connect the bike first. So you have to scan the QR code that was in our settings from earlier. Hold the plus and minus, go into settings. Let's go into the Bluetooth and scan that. All right, we are connecting. Yes, I would like to pair. Sure, we can receive notifications, that's fine. Now, I was curious to see if it showed voltage. It's cool, it shows the bike and everything like that. I'm not logged in, I didn't make an account, so that's cool. I didn't have to make anything yet. They didn't have to get my information. Okay, so it says I have 10.5 miles on it. You can turn the headlight off and on. That's pretty cool. 53%. I actually like being able to see a percentage number instead of just a little bar over here, so that's nice, but no voltage. I don't see any voltage on this thing. Let's see, we have a go, there's navigation. Okay, if you want to use navigation, you do have to make an account, which I'm not going to do. Let's see, you can come up here, message, Bluetooth assistance. Oh, that's just extra stuff. Screen brightness, what is this? Oh, there we go. It fixed that problem I was telling you about. So the headlight's on right now because I can see it, but I can have the screen brightness all the way at 4 if I want to. That is super cool. And then we can do the assistance level, Bluetooth unlock, I'm not sure what that is, but a lot of this stuff you have to make an account, but it's cool that you have that. So now you have turn-by-turn navigation that you can do on here, and it will show up on this display, so you don't actually have to be watching your phone. But this handlebar setup is great because it's a BMX style. You can put extra headlights up here, extra accessories, water bottles, whatever you want to put, because you have so much room on the handlebars. Absolutely love that decision from them. The other app you're going to want to download is Eye Protector, and this is on iOS, and I already did this previously. And this is where you can also do like ride navigation. You can do Google. So it's probably going to show where I'm at right now. I did make an account for this, but it's saying that it failed. One thing that's interesting though, is that this app is telling me my battery is at 78%. So something's not like reading correctly. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. So I can do location, can show the location, and there I am. Right here, and it will show where the bike's at. So it's going to show where your bike's at and your phone. So that is super cool. And if I wanted to, I can hit lock and the bike is totally turned off. I don't even think the bike will turn on. Now there is no alarm or anything like that, but you can't turn the bike on. So if someone takes it, they're out of luck. I mean, you could pedal this bike though, technically. I don't know how long they're going to pedal, but at least they're not going to be getting super, super far, you know? But then you can unlock the bike. It's not going to automatically turn on, but you just hold the power button after that. Just turn it on like normal. So that's pretty cool. That's actually one cool feature that this bike has that a lot of other bikes do not have. Oh, damn, that's just loud. God dang, bro. God dang, you're going to clip the audio on my mics. Yeah, so all in all, I got to say, this bike is pretty cool. I think I like the look of it and the comfortability of it, and just the practicality of the fact that we have 2 motors and 2 batteries. So that's kind of what you're paying for. Now, I gotta say the extra motor up front isn't like going to pull you up a crazy steep hill like some of these bikes. I don't even think this thing would do very good in the sand if I'm being completely honest with you. And I keep forgetting I got turn signals. I gotta let people know that are behind me that I'm turning, bro. I'm turning. Let me show you guys the turn signals in the back because I don't think I showed you guys that yet. Oh, and before we even get there, real quick, one of the things with the kickstand is adjusted all the way up because there's a screw in the back, and this bike almost wants to fall over. You have to have the bike like this because if you put the bike like this, it will fall over. So just FYI, something to keep in mind. If you're a little worried about it, you put it on driveways or you put it in grass or dirt and it's uneven, you might want a new kickstand. And it's very easy. It's one of those kickstands that just has the 2 bolts. They're like 10 to 20 bucks on Amazon, depending on what you want. But anyways, okay, that's actually a kind of unique turn signal. That's pretty cool. I've never seen like anything like that. I actually have never seen this tail light or brake light on a bike before. Now, question is, okay, my headlight isn't on because we turned the bike off. So that's how it looks with the turn signal and the brake on. And of course, we already saw that this is not a light that gets brighter. It just flashes. So it looks pretty cool though. Now, because it's getting dark right now, we're gonna wrap up this video review, and I will ride this in a second video, so subscribe so you guys can find the second video. But I really love how the bike looks over the performance of it. I don't think it has a whole lot of performance for the price, However, the comfortability of this thing is absolutely astonishing. Like, it is great. Now, of course, I didn't try it off-road and everything like that because that's a good test to see if it's comfortable. But for street riding, of course, with these tires, I think it is a very solid bike. The gear shifter is great. It's good for low-end pedaling, just in case you run out of battery or juice or whatever. And you can always take one of these batteries off and run one of them to make this bike a little lighter. The fact that it has GPS built in and you can find your bike and you can kind of hopefully prevent it from being, you know, stripped apart. You can at least hopefully find it within the next 30 minutes or something after someone takes it. That's a nice thing. Something I wanted to point out right here, you guys might think this looks weird, but if you feel like the handlebars in your riding position is uncomfortable, you can actually take this off and put these on top and put the stem down here. So you can actually lower the handlebars by like that much. But I felt like the riding position was really good on it and has some really good features on it, I think. I really like the GPS turn-by-turn navigation once you make an account and get that all set up. And yeah, if you guys want to buy it, everything's down below. You guys can save some money. Make sure to go plug it in on the website. It helps this channel out and I can give you really honest video reviews from here on out. And it really helps the channel because I like to buy stuff as well. So it really helps us all out at the end of the day. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. My nose is running. It's really cold out here. T's in her office. T's in her office. You know, another good thing about this bike is I know we didn't go in any mud or dirt really, but I love the fact that I know I am not going to get splashed with anything. The last couple bikes I've been riding, man, my clothes have been messed up to hell. And if you guys want to know, we did exactly 10 miles and we either have 70% or we have 50-something%. I don't know what it is, but we did 10 miles a day. I am not gonna charge this bike and we're gonna see what other range we get on the second video. Max speed was 34 miles an hour. Oh, not bad. I thought it was only 32.